Hey everybody, welcome back. It is time once again. You're going to notice right away, you're normally staring at Blair Nightingale, your host for this Market Monday, same time, same channel, as I say every single week. But we've got another person on here. Mr. Dave Huber is joining us. So you probably saw Market Monday. We're trading with Dave. What do we mean by trading with Dave? Well, really, we're going to look at trading and what that process, what that journey has been like for Mr. Dave Huber. I will give him a chance in just a moment to let us know a little bit more about who he is. Who is this guy that I got on here? If you haven't seen him already around TRADEway, chances are some of you have seen his videos. You may have heard his teaching. Dave is a good friend of mine and also is the vice president over at TRADEway. So he is joining us today. A lot of great stuff. I want to remind you guys, same as always, there is a little comment section right over on the other side. I can't point at because Dave is over there right now on the screen. It's right, yeah, there you go, Dave. I do the same thing every week. It's on the other side. Go ahead and comment wherever it is on your screen. Let us know who you are. I can see you guys coming into the class. Let us know who you are, where you're from, what you're doing, what you want to see on this broadcast today, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting because Dave's got a lot of knowledge about this stuff that we've been talking about on Market Mondays. And I think most importantly, for all of you viewers out there, Dave started in a place that some of you guys might really be able to relate with. He had the need to change his financial mindset. And he needed a skill set to help him get there. But can I get there? Is that for other people or is it for me? If so, how? How can I get there? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I think getting some insight into that process for you is going to encourage you. It's going to encourage you. What does that mean? You're literally going to get courage. That's what I want you to get out of today. So let us know where you're from as we go along, and know that near the end, Dave's going to give us a special, specifically a trading tip, something that he knows, something that he does. I mentioned he's got a lot of experience. So we're going to talk about his story, but we will land and directly go at something that you can practically use in the market. So stick around for that, and we'll also do some questions as well. So let us know what you think. With that said, Dave, welcome, man.
Hey, it is good to be on here with you, my friend. I wish we could be in the same room.
I know.
But that's okay. Yeah, this is exciting. I like doing this kind of stuff. And anytime I have a chance to talk with our students and our friends out there, it's fun for me. If you've ever been to one of my classes, you know that I like to get in front of the room and act crazy and give you a big bear hug when you come in and stuff. So for those of y'all who have met me in person, hi, good to see you again. But if you haven't, I hope to someday.
Yeah. So for those of you who this is the first time meeting Dave, which I know is true for a lot of you guys, Dave is an advanced trader, okay? And he's helped even develop some of the parts of what we do at TRADEway, what we teach our students. That said, Dave actually specializes in meeting new people who are new to trading. He helps teach our Step 1 events. He's done probably more of those than he can count. He's been all over the country many, many times, meeting a lot of you guys. And I know Dave personally, I know that is one of his favorite things to do, is to be able to actually go out there and meet you guys. So that is just part of who he is. That's one of his, I think, Dave, you've told me that's actually one of your favorite parts of being here. You can do a lot of different things, but being able to meet new people is just a really huge part of it.
Well, yeah, the thing is, you could sit in front of your computer and trade all day, but you're never going to meet anybody that way, right? So I used to love getting out and doing these Step 1 events that we do all across the nation. And my absolute favorite classes to teach were always Step 1s, because you get a lot of people, they're brand new, they've never tried trading before. There's lots of fear. There's lots of uncertainty, right? And I have lived through that. I have experienced all of the insecurities of a new trader. And so it is my joy and privilege to help people through those insecurities. It's my favorite part. So like I could help teach the Step 2s or the 3s or the 4s, and those are fun. but you get a lot more of the insecurities coming out at that first step one. And so that's where my heart is. I want to help people who are having a hard time starting, right?
Exactly. And I think that's really valuable for a lot of people who join us here every Monday. I can see you guys. I'm going to give some shout outs in just a second here. I can see those names. We got some newbies and we got some of our favorites, our regulars on there. So let me get back to that in a sec, because what Dave's saying is really interesting. I mean, and that's why I bring it up. Dave has spent a lot of time in a lot of rooms with a lot of people who are saying, you know what? I hear about this trading thing. In fact, the last few weeks, Blair keeps saying there are record numbers of people in this country, record numbers of people that are opening brokerage accounts. They're going after trading in the stock market. The problem is they're doing it without really any knowledge of what to do. We've got a very low barrier of entry right here. All you need is this to start, right? And the fees are, in some cases, non-existent. You guys have heard me say that on here. So with so much access, with so much excitement around what could be possible, Dave in particular is very, very good at helping people understand what is even possible here. And can I really do it? Because it's one thing, and some of you guys out there, you can relate to this. You're feeling this today too. You know what? Maybe Blair can do it. Maybe Dave can do it. You know, maybe they have a business degree. Maybe they have a background in finance. You know, I'm not really a math guy. Dave, what would you say to some of those people? And just maybe speak into what you were talking about a second ago. You you meet a lot of new people.
Yeah.
And that's the thoughts they have about trading. You know, I've seen Blair the last few weeks, and he's drawing those lines on there and he's showing me stuff, but that feels like that's a long way away from what I could do.
Right. Well, you know, first you come into it and you have these preconceived notions, like I'm going to have to be awesome at math. I'm going to have some finance degree, like you just mentioned. I'm going to have to be some kind of super genius or know everything that's going on in the world. And all those things, I came to the table thinking, like, I'm not a stock trader. And David Mitchell, my father-in-law, is going to try and turn me into a stock trader, right? And that's what it felt like. I don't know that that's even that's like a square peg, right? Going in a round hole. I'm like, I don't see how that's going to fit. I'm not a genius. In fact, many people don't know. I grew up doing martial arts, and I got hit in the head a whole lot. Like a lot. And as a result of that, I've actually had my wife found me laid out having a seizure one time, just completely laid out, unconscious. They rushed me to the hospital.
Wow.
And this was a few years back. And we've come to realize it was probably just a result of something from in my past getting hit in a bunch, right? Just hitting the head a lot, some kind of brain damage or something. So I like to tell people to some small degree, I've got brain damage. And yeah, I can do this, right? I'm by no means the sharpest tool in the shed, but I have determination, right? And and if I have determination and I have a desire, then I can get wherever I think I want to go. I have firmly believed that since childhood. My parents instilled that in me. And so determination and a desire, really, that's what you need. So if you want to learn to trade, if you want to change your life and you're determined, then you're willing to go through the difficulties to get there, right? So
wow, that's really good. I hope everybody is catching this. I mean, ultimately, like, this isn't just fluff here, right? We're coming on here and I'm saying, you know, you guys, I know I've heard from many of you guys. This is something that is exciting to you, the possibilities of what this could mean for you. But again, that gap of like, well, how do I get from here to there? And it's not. And this is my story too. We're talking about Dave today, but I can tell you guys, and I've mentioned it on previous broadcasts, you know, I don't have a background in finance. I don't have a background where I enjoyed math. In fact, it was one of my weakest subjects, okay? And we hear that a lot. But it's something that where you have that determination and you know you have a conviction. And I know Dave, and you guys are getting to know me too. There's a conviction that, no, God has something for me, and I'm going to put myself I'm going to set my face like flint, and I'm going to go after that thing. But somewhere along the way, when we have that determination, we might just jump out. And like I said, maybe we just start one of these. Maybe we just start a brokerage account. But that doesn't necessarily mean we have what we need to go the distance. And that's not necessarily how you got to where you are alone. That got you started in the process, Dave. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what took you to the next level? Obviously, here we are. We're on the TRADEway channel. So we know TRADEway helped you, but tell us a little bit of the story. I know the story, and it's a great story, but I think it'll encourage people out there to know, once that piece clicks, it says, you know what? I'm the one telling myself that I can't do this. And here's some people that want to help me get to where I want to go. But what does that even really look like? And what did that look like for you, Dave?
Okay, so that's a very big question, actually, because like I said, I didn't feel like I could do it, but I wanted to try, right? I wanted to try, and I thought, all right, God loves me. I know that much, right? He loves me, and I'm delighting myself in his word. I know that he's going to grant me the desires of my heart, and one of those desires is I'm going to learn stock trading. And so I started to trade, and it did not go well to start off.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Starting off, it didn't go well. And the reason was because, I like to jump into things. I'll click around and stuff. And I will make mistakes. The thing is, and I credit my dad for this, especially. My dad taught me that you can either lose or you can learn. And so if I lose, if I put money into a trade and I take an expense, and maybe it's a bigger expense than I expected to take, I can either lose or I can learn from it. And I had a lot of that going on at the beginning of my trading. It was, wow, I messed up again. I just bought the wrong stock. I literally bought the wrong stock. I have actually bought a stock by sneezing before. That has happened. I had my hand over the button, and I was just waiting, and got a little sniffle and accidentally pushed the button, bought the stock. So I mean, I've done just about everything wrong you could do. I've broken the rules. Like for those of you who have just started trading, maybe you've learned the rule set from TRADEway. And one of the first things we tell you is you want to buy off the bounce, let the stock bounce off support and then buy. I've broken that rule. It has cost me dearly. Yes. And I could either quit or I could say, all right, what did I learn? Now, let me tell you what happens because it's not easy just to say, okay, well, I'll just learn. Because especially when you lose money, it may be money that you worked hard for. And in my situation, when I first started trading, I was not in a great financial situation. I was deep in debt. And so any money that I put in a trading account was money I could have sent to the creditors. Right. Yeah. And so to lose it,
I think that's very real for a lot of people, especially right now. That's very real. We're speaking to some people out there today who might be saying, that's risk that I can't afford to take. And there's a bigger conversation we can have about taking risk. And we do that at TRADEway. But I think that probably speaks to a lot of people. Yeah, you're looking for hope.
And what you just said, I want to go there for just a second too, because those exact words have come out of my mouth. I'm not sure that's a risk that I can take, right? Okay. And one of the biggest things that was a transformation for me was when I first started trading, when I first started learning this process, I found out that my mindset, I had a lot of things that I thought were true that were not. Right. About myself, about the way the world works, about the way money works.
Now, did you expect that to be a part of what this was?
No, not at all. I mean,
interesting.
Because I grew up in a good Christian home, right? And I even doctrinally, I felt like, okay, I'm pretty much got it, right? Like my parents did a great job with me. I was in good church families growing up. I had good influences my whole life, right?
Right. Okay.
So I should have just succeeded. That's what I thought. Like, I should just succeed. I'm going to win, and it didn't happen. And part of the reason why it didn't happen was, even though there were a lot of things that I believed to be true, they weren't true, and they were actually working against me and my success.
Yes. Wow. Okay.
Things like I'm not sure I can afford to take the risk. All right. Now, that's one of the best things I ever learned was, when we say I'm not sure I can afford to take a risk, what we don't realize we're saying is we can't afford to get the return either. Right? So because there's this law called the law of risk return. And if you can't afford to take the risk, then you don't get to have the return. And yet we want returns, right? But we're not willing to take the risks. And when those words came out of my mouth, I thought I was being wise. I thought I was being prudent. Yes. And my father-in-law said, he literally came back at me and said, well, then you don't get the return. And I said, wait a minute, what do you mean? He said, well, you have to take risks to get the return. So if you can't afford the risk, you don't get the return.
Yes. Go ahead. Yes.
Let that kind of sink in. And it was like a pause, like mic drop, David Mitchell, right? And I'm like, but how could I get the return? He's like, take the risk.
Right.
We're getting around that hard truth. You've got to take some risks.
That can be a very big and would you agree, scary shift for somebody to make.
It's so scary, especially if you're dealing with debt. Like, if you're in debt right now, that's a scary place to be, because you worry about not making rent, not paying the bills, maybe things get repoed. I mean, for me, I married Katie. Awesome girl. She's the love of my life. We'll be together forever and ever to eternity's end.
Yeah.
But I wanted her to have this awesome life right now. And so I was going to go and I was going to pay for this life that I thought she should have right now, even though I didn't have a way to afford it. So I found these cool things called credit cards, right? So I've done that. And so I made a lot of decisions that put a lot of extra pressure on me when it came time to learn trading. So you're already going to have enough pressure as it is, just trying to figure out something new and trying to
very important. Yes.
But then the things that are going to give you the most pressure are all the other things in life. It's not, are you going to get it right or are you going to get it wrong in your trade? Like, that part's there. Oh, I hope I get this trade right so I make money and I don't lose money. But the real pressure, you're not thinking so much about get it right. You're thinking about don't get it wrong, because if I don't make my next bill, all of a sudden, all the bigger cares of life are a part of the trade. They're a part of the trade. It's not just affecting the trade. It's a part of the trade. And when that happens, it becomes very difficult.
Okay, so this is really good, you guys. Let me just bring this to a home base here, because I think Dave is saying so many things right now. I think for many of us, it's speaking to us, but there are layers here that are so important. So they'll speak to us at different points of the process. If I come to a place where I have a need, that's why you're on this channel, right? I've said this many times in previous weeks. Listen, if you're joining us here at TRADEway on a Market Monday, you're curious. You're curious about the markets. You're curious about financial breakthrough. How could this serve me? How could this serve my house, my home, my life, my mission, whatever it is? And we're hearing from Dave, I had this call. I had this conviction. I also had this determination. But along the way, I discovered that I needed to take risk. And that was kind of a hard belief to get over and get around. And I also felt like, can I do this? Other people can do this. Can I do this? I'm determined. But in all of that, tell us a little bit, Dave. So you come to, David Mitchell, the CEO of TRADEway. He's the founder of this company. You come to a place where all of those pieces are in play. That speaks probably to many of our audience, many people in our audience today. But then you had somebody and you had people around you that helped you navigate that process, because you can, take too much risk, right? You can take not enough, right? We usually are afraid of taking too much, but it's just as bad when we don't take any.
Oh, it's so true.
You guys have heard me talk about the children of Israel. They come to the borderlines of the promised land and they won't take any risk, right? They won't take a risk that God is drawing them into. So tell us, how do we help people through that? How do we get people beyond some of those challenges, and how did that happen for you?
Okay, so what you just said is the answer. It's you have to have help. We have glorified the self-made millionaire in America so much that we think when it comes to doing something new for our finances, we have to do it all by ourselves. It's almost pre-programmed into us that if you're going to try and make it big in the financial world, you got to bootstrap, do it yourself. And we talk about the self-made millionaire. But in reality, the self-made millionaire is just better at getting help than anybody else.
Interesting.
I'm not trying to take away any glory from the guy who really worked hard his whole life and maybe built something big, maybe built a business. But the ones who really make it big, they figure out where they can leverage in the areas that they lack, right? So like you have strengths, but where you have lack, you can leverage. That's where you can help and actually have someone fill a need in your life. Sometimes you don't even know what the need is. In my case, that was it, right? In my case, I didn't realize that I had this mentality that I can't afford the risk. And I had to have David Mitchell speak that into my life and say, then you don't get to have the reward. End of story.
Right.
Come to grips with it. Right.
Yes.
And so then I had to work through that, but I wouldn't have done that had someone not been there to hold my hand and say, this is where you're wrong, Dave. You think you're being wise by saying I can't afford the risk, but you're actually falling victim to a trap that so many people fall victim to.
Yes.
I wouldn't have done that. So having help, that is the way you do it. You've got to have some mentorship of some sort, someone who's been there who can walk you through it and say, I used to think that too, right?
Wow. Okay. So everybody, this is good. So for those of you who join us regularly on this, okay, you know what you know what I'm talking about when I say on Wednesdays, we did a whole series. If you've not seen it, you can go back. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Like us on Facebook, because if you do, every time we do one of these broadcasts, listen, you're going to get value. We're just coming on here and giving it away because we want you. I say this all the time. We want you to win. That's what I want. I want you to win. That's our goal. We focus on finances at TRADEway, but in every way, we want you to win. And we did a series, The Keys to Breakthrough. You can go back and watch it.
I love that series.
Dave just described something that really shows us, you know, the partnership that we try to provide here at TRADEway financially for you is to give you those keys, right? Mindset, we talked about that. Knowing what your biggest weaknesses are, your constraints. Dave talked about it. He didn't even know they were there. Somebody else who's in a different place is the person who's positioned to show you where you need breakthrough and how to get it the most. Most importantly, the places. So that's another one. Community. That's another one we talked about. Who's around you? Are they where you want to be? Get a mentor. That's another one we talked about. Why am I saying this right now? Because so many of those things come in and give us superpower when we are pursuing a goal that's in our heart, in our minds, that God has spoken to us, and they are where we want to be. And Dave is in this place, and I know Dave's story well too. He was in a lot of need. He was in a position where he took risks that people who weren't even close to as hard of a position as he was in, they wouldn't take the risk. And he did. But he had so much around him that gave him the ability to move forward with confidence and precision and success. And we're going to talk about that more in a minute. I can tell you guys, some of you out there are saying, well, you know, Dave, he's part of that family, right? Isn't that it? Like, he's in the company. Well, I can tell you that Dave was doing this, and TRADEway came after that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I can tell you guys, I've told you this before, but that's partially my story too. Mine's a little bit unique from Dave's, but I don't have that story. And there are tens of thousands of TRADEway students right now, and there are coaches for this company right now, and their story's a little bit different. So it's not all that family piece. It's having those people around you, right? So Dave just dropped some bombs there about those keys to breakthrough, and they really do work.
One of my favorite quotes ever is, if you want to slay a giant, hang out with giant killers, right?
Yeah, I know that one.
And so, and I think I've heard you say that. And so when you do that, when you surround yourself with people of like mind who may be a little bit further along in the journey than you are, they know what you're going through, so they can help you through those things. And that's really what happened for me. Is
exactly.
I try to surround myself. The scripture tells us that there's safety in wise counsel, right? And so that's what you're doing. You're getting help. You're getting counsel.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So I want to do this. I want to make sure you guys know, everybody who's on here, Benjamin, Jeffrey, David, I see you guys. Katie is joining us. You heard Dave talk about his sweet wife earlier. Katie is joining us today as well. Nancy, Troy, everybody. We've got some new people on here as well. Barb, Sammy. Sammy just said, I needed to hear this lesson. I needed to hear this. And I know that there are people out there today that needed to hear this lesson. And let me tell you guys, if you know somebody, you're listening to this right now, and you're going, you know what? I needed to hear this today. But so does my cousin George or whoever in your life you can think of. They need to hear this too.
Send it to George.
Go ahead and share this. Send this to them as well, because ultimately I think this is going to be breakthrough for a lot of people. So Dave gets into this place where this helps create breakthrough for him, and ultimately this completely changes your life. So I just want to open up space right now, Dave, culminating that whole kind of process. If there was one thing that you just felt like, you know what, after all this journey for me, you start in this place where you've got this debt, you've got this financial goal, beliefs are being challenged, it's possible, but I'm not sure if I can do it. You get help. Obviously, you've been able to do this for years now. What's something that you would say, guys, if I could tell you one thing right now, one thing that I think is the most important thing, and maybe you said it already.
Right.
What would that be? What would that be for people?
Become self-aware. Self-aware. So understand what you're going through, because people are usually very aware of how they're feeling, but they don't know why, right? So they understand that, okay, I'm scared right now, but they don't process that. They get scared and they react.
Yes. Okay.
Learn to process the feelings, because what we'll tell you in class is we'll say that stock trading is 80% mental. It's only about 20% skill set. And what we'll do is, as soon as we have fear or greed come into the game, we will push the button. And we do that as a knee-jerk reaction, and we won't take a moment just to process, why am I feeling fearful right now? Or why am I feeling greedy? Just a moment. It doesn't take long just to take a moment, think about what you're thinking about. The scripture tells us, take captive every thought. That's what you want to do. Take captive every thought, analyze the thought, and ask yourself, is this coming from Christ or is this coming from Satan? Right? Is this a thought from the enemy, or is this a thought from my Lord? Because he's going to lead you through not just stock trading, but anything, right? But especially in stock trading, because this is such a mental game, you can get yourself in a better mental state by holding on to Jesus's hand, right? And you do that through his word, right? So get in the word, study the word. It will help your mindset more than anything else. More than anything that even TRADEway could give you, right? Now, which we'll show you how the word can be used in stock trading. That's one of our favorite things to do. Right. But I'd encourage you, get in the word and be self-aware of the things that you're feeling. Take captive every thought. Yeah.
Guys, so for those of you out there, you're new to this. This is for you. For those of you who've been in this for a while, you'll know so much of what this is. And this is really important. So much of what this is stock trading, moving meaningfully towards the goals you have, financial goals. I've talked about this amazing opportunity in the stock market. So much of it hinges upon what's going on right here and what's going on right here.
Mm-hmm.
So becoming a person who is going to pursue this is, and I'm going to get Dave's thoughts on this, is going to set you onto a course of spiritual, mental, and emotional transformation, as well as financial transformation. That's probably much bigger and much better than you even imagine at this point. Dave, did you have any idea that any of that was going to be a part of this process? Because, of course, you've gone after your financial goals. I know that. Right. And that's the center of what we're talking about in terms of why we do what we do here. But you get all this other good stuff too.
So what's funny about that is that you will win in life before you'll win in trading. So you will have some mental breakthroughs where you'll have something occur where you go, wow, I never knew that was true, or I never knew that was false. And you start to hone in on what you really believe and how the Lord's going to use that belief in your life. And you'll hone in on that, and then you'll start to see how that's going to affect your trading. It's so funny because people think, well, I just have to keep trading and keep trading. That's good. Keep at the process, right? But the real breakthrough, at least for me, came outside of the actual pushing of the buttons for the trades. Right. It came from outside of that. And when I could see that it could be applied to trading, which is what David Mitchell was so good at doing for me, right? And that's what we strive to do. That's the whole reason why he invented TRADEway, is so that we can show people how to take the bigger picture of life and apply it to a skill set like trading.
Totally.
So it was a big transformation that you think you're going to get better at stock trading, but you get better at life first. You get better at thinking, you get better at doing, you get better at being, and then you get better at trading, right? So,
and that's one of the things that's why I asked the question, Dave, because I wanted people to hear today. That's one of the things I love about this community. And I use that word intentionally because we're not just talking about people who are working for TRADEway or have helped found TRADEway, but also the students, right? It is this community of people who are helping one another move forward on every level. And I said, we're focusing in on this area. We focus on training you to feel confident and competent trading in the stock market so you can reach your financial goals. That's the point. But there's so much other stuff that happens with it. And that's why I was excited to have Dave on here for this series kickoff, because I want you to see sides of who he is as a stock trader, who's been doing it for years. He's an excellent stock trader, but there's all this other good stuff that's come into play. And I just want to pull up real quick. Martha popped a comment out here.
I was just reading that. So good.
Emotions break my consistency in planning my trade. So I talk about this where whenever we trade, part of what we're going to help you do is plan that trade. And you're going to plan that trade to help you control emotions. And we go down that hole, if you will, deeper when we get into the program. But it's a very key part of the process. And what Dave is describing is, well, what happens if those emotions start to kick up? That's what Martha's sharing with us. And I can relate. I know Dave can relate. If you're a trader, you can relate. So who's going to be around you to help you see, to help you process that, to help you get the breakthrough over that as it comes up? That's part of what Dave is talking about.
In my experience, your worst trades are ones you self-sabotage in. So if you have a second set of eyes or just a mind to bounce things off of, you can't put a value on it, right? It's just that good to have someone else say, Dave, what are you thinking?
Exactly. Yes. And would you say that accelerated your process?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. It's all about having someone, I mean, you're time compressing, right? You're streamlining the process because I'm getting that feedback from people who were better at this than I am, right? And anytime you want to do anything, there's a tendency, people like to be with other people who are in the same boat. And that's okay, but that's comfortable, right?
Right.
You gotta get to someone who's in the bigger boat than you are, someone who's in a better position than you are, and you'll have insecurities of feeling I'm not smart enough to be around these people. I don't know what questions to ask. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. I don't want to sound stupid. All that stuff comes up, but if you don't step out of your comfort zone and get with the giant killers like we were talking about earlier,
right.
You're not going to play any giants. You'll be with all the other people who don't know what they're doing, right? So you got to get with the people who have already been where you are.
Yes. Yeah. It's almost, I got to say, at some level, comfort kills. I'm just going to say that. Somebody needed to hear that today.
Yeah.
We're thinking, you know what? If I step out this boat, I'm going to sink to the bottom. But I'll tell you what, if you stay in that boat for long enough, you're going to miss out on something. And I'll just leave that at that point. Now, we said this community, and actually I see Jeffrey's comment. Amen on the community comment, Jeffrey says. I made a friend in the 30-day challenge. TRADEway does a 30-day challenge, and we are accountability and trading partners now.
Oh, that's cool.
They just exchange with each other. Hey, this is what TRADEway is teaching me. This is what I need some accountability. Make sure I actually do it. Now some people have access to us in the program where we can actually do that with you one-on-one as much as you want. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Jeffrey's comment is just saying, hey, I built some community. So here's a question I just wanted to ask you for fun, Dave, as we kind of get closer to the end of this time together. Tell me a story. I just want to hear one of your favorite stories. I know you love meeting people. Dave is the man meeting people. He's just such a people person. Everywhere we go, I've traveled with Dave quite a bit. And like I said, he likes to meet students. So just tell me, what's a favorite story? This could be, somebody who you worked with and they got a breakthrough, or something crazy that happened at one of your events. Just maybe tell us a little bit of what that's been like for you along the way.
I do too. I've got two that pop in my mind immediately. One is a man by the name of Hubert Davis. We call him Ray.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Ray sat, I remember the first class he came to, I was teaching it, and he sat about halfway back on the inside row. We would have an aisle right in the middle, and he was sitting right on the aisle, and he's sitting there looking totally lost the entire time. And he's one of those guys where when you're looking out at the crowd, as a speaker, you try to gauge who's going to do this, who's not, right? Who's actually going to take the step and do this. And he's the guy where I'm like, he's lost. I'll keep trying to bring him along, but I'm not sure he's going to make it, right? The end of class, he comes to me. He says, can I do this? And I said, I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? He said, I think I can do this. I was like, okay, cool. And he said, but I have a problem. I said, what's that? He said, I can't read. I said, wow. You can't read? He said, well, I can, but I was a victim of a really bad car wreck when I was like 18 months old. And he said, and it resulted in the worst kind of dyslexia. And he said, it takes me about an hour to read each page. And he said, so can I do this? And I said, you can read. He said, yeah, but it takes me a long time. I said, you can do this. I think you can do this. And I said, I'll help you. And he said, okay, well, I'm not allowed to give like results of anything, but I'll tell you this. He became a stock trader. And I stayed in touch with, I haven't heard from him in a while.
Wow.
Stuff, but it was awesome, right? It was just awesome that he could learn to do this.
Here's all my excuses going right out the window.
Yeah, they're gone.
I mean, that's for me, you guys. That's for me. Listen, I'm not even pointing the finger. Y'all can deal with that one. That's for me. If he can do it, I can do it. I got things I'm going after. You guys hear me every week, right? This is an obsession. I believe that the Christian has a duty to the brother and sister to be the very best in every area that they can. So, hey, listen, I got my own excuses. Wow, what a great story. Okay.
So that's one. That's one. The other one.
Okay.
one thing that's awesome about this company, it was built by a family. It's geared towards families. It's and family means different things to different people. It doesn't just mean, husband and wife and kids. It can be
Sure.
you and your brother, you and your best friend. Like you have your people, right?
Yes.
We
Yep.
built.
I know exactly what you mean. Yes.
Right. We built this with our people, and we go out and we share it with people that are of like mind, and then they go share it with their people. And that's what I love about it. And so anytime I see families or friends getting together and doing this, it just overwhelms me with joy. And I get this now. I think David Verbruggen's on here. I think I saw him on here. David, now you posted this, and I hope you're not going to get upset with me, but I've got this on my phone. He sent me this picture. Look at this. Can you see that?
Yeah, you've got some window, a little bit of window glare there.
Right here. I'll turn my computer a little bit. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's a student of ours with his 22-hour daughter.
Wow.
Just born, and he's sitting in a market corner, and he's going, I'm already teaching her. He's like, she's sitting in here in a market corner with me, and it overwhelms me. He sent me that, and he goes, look, we're in the market corner. She was born 22 hours ago, and it's so cool because David, I won't share too much about his story, but he's got his own difficulties that he's working through, and some of them are big. Yeah. And yet he is determined. I'm praying for this guy because, and if you're on there, David, it's true. I'm praying for you because I want to.
On there.
I want to see you succeed because it's so cool what you're doing, for you and your family. And it's not an easy journey. It's tough, but I want to give a shout out to David. I see him on there. He's like, yep.
Yeah.
So cool. And continue to share this with your kids. Your grandkids someday, David, you'll be getting those market alerts with your grandkids bouncing on your knee. That'll be awesome.
So, yeah, guys, I feel like I keep saying this, but I'm going to keep saying it anyway. I hope you're getting this. This isn't just our heart, but this is who we are. Yeah. It's real people having real experience. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now. And some of you guys, hey, that's why you join us. Because you come here and you can feel that difference. There's some encouragement. If you get that out of this, listen, we are happy. That is honest truth. We are definitely happy because this is real people going through real things saying, you know what? I'm going to get to a different place. I'm going to get to a different place. I need some help to do it. And we can help you do that. That is who we are, and that is what we do. So I promised you guys, as we land the plane, we're coming on just about 45 minutes. It goes like that every single time. I wanted Dave to just share with you quickly, just the Dave special, right? The Dave special trading tip. Now, Dave, honestly, whether you guys know it or not, has already given us tons of great trading tips. But he's going to give you just one thing today. This will be the number one thing he would say to you guys, a trading tip that he's learned along the way. And with that, I'm going to close this out.
Don't quit. That's determination is everything when it comes to trying anything new. Don't quit. You will have losses along the way. Don't lose. You will lose money, but learn from it. If you learn, you don't lose because you get paid in different types of currency.
Yes.
Money, and then there's lessons. And the lessons are usually more valuable than the money you would have made in the trade. So
very good.
Learn the lesson. You will get paid so much better off the lesson than you will off that one trade of money. It will serve you better. So don't lose, learn.
Wow. You guys are getting some, I would call this heavy revy. That's what I call it. So some of you are like, what are you talking about, Blair? That's okay. That's good stuff. That's the process of trading here and really saying, this is an area of my life I want to take more authority in. And that's what we're here to do. Real things, real people. So thank you, Dave, for being on today. That was awesome. We could easily do this for another hour. I've been trying to get Dave to do a podcast with me forever, you guys. So who knows? Maybe I'm not going to say anything official, but we were happy to have Dave on here today. And you never know, we may have him back again. You guys let us know. What did you think of this time? We're starting this new series today. We're going to keep doing this. You're going to meet some new people in the coming weeks from TRADEway. We're going to go down the road of their story to see where did they start, where did they end up. Some of you guys are going to go, yeah, that's my story. I needed to hear that today. And that's what this series is all about. I always give you guys something practical that you can grab onto at the end. TRADEway has very, very valuable, right, packed with the kind of things that we talked about today to give you the keys you need for breakthrough. Memberships. You can join these memberships month to month. Okay, these are low cost, tons of value. I've talked about them on here before. I am going to post a link to those memberships on the Facebook page as soon as we end this broadcast. So you can open those up and say, you know what? I want to be in this process. I want to get some of that mentorship. Man, I got some beliefs and I need somebody to help me work through those. I want to do this. That's where you're going to be able to do that. Okay, so I will post that information for you on there as well. So once again, Dave, thank you so much. For all of you guys who stayed with us the whole time and join us every single week, again, like this, repost this, share this with a friend, help us get the message out there. If this is speaking to you, you know, I know this great pastor, he says, if it feeds me, it'll feed them. So if this is feeding you, go ahead, send it over to somebody else, because who's to say this isn't going to be the beginning of a breakthrough for another family, another couple, another father, another home. It could be just that, okay? I see the thanks in there, so thank you to you guys. You're so gracious, and we love you, and we will see you next time. Thanks, Dave.
You bet. Take care.